Chapter 15. A House with a Yellow Stone Wall. Near the borders betwixt the virtuous Gilgal Forest in the west and the old Sun Valley flatlands, now better known as the Vermorian Plains to its north, stood the renowned and unmistakable bell tower of Heartwood Abbey. It was nestled snugly atop a gentle valley of rolling hills, just west of the towering mountainous cliffside of the Rockwood Mountains. It sat near where Millvale was built, only a day's travel away. Protecting the abbey from all sides stood resolute walls of yellow-washed stones, concealing all but the uppermost tails of the bell tower and the ornate peaks of its sloping roof, adorned in hues of warm, sun-kissed orange. The regal center gateway in the wall that stood facing south featured a tall yet magnificent archway, wherein two illustrious figures had been etched onto the smooth surface of the stone, flanking the massive double doors with grandeur. This age-old sanctuary stood as a symbol of hope and unwavering champion of freedom for those who both resided and visited the place. It has long been cherished by many, for it offers both solace and respite to those in need. Now, however, it was bustling with busy creatures, all of whom were preparing for a feast like no other. Some distance south of the doors and on its trail, a dormouse hauling his weathered companion, a tented two-wheeled cart, slowly pressed beyond the distinct tree line that marked the entrance to the valley ahead. Pots, jars, and bags all clinked, clattered, and rustled about, whilst the wheels croaked and groaned with each rotation. Looking up to see his destination in view now, the dormouse father, dressed in threadbare trousers secured at the ankles, a vest splashed with vibrant yellow, and an oversized merchant's cap, called to his two young sons.
Look at this wonderful view!
The two dormice, together in only a set of torn and mud-stained slacks, both popped out of the open window frame at the front of the cart, their excited nature catching sight of the distant building hidden in the valley. As they slowly approached the impressive landmark, the two young dormice brothers, now marveling at the sight, began to push at each other as each tried to ask their father about the place.
Dad, look about there! Is that the... Hey, let go, you ruffin!
No, it's my turn to ask. Is that the place where... Ah, don't hit me!
Is that where we're going? Ah, get off me, you toad!
Still arguing and fumbling amongst themselves, they fell back inside the cart, making it difficult to keep progressing with all the unwanted jerking.
All right, enough with that now! Settle thyselves, else I'll turn us round and you'll not have any sort of celebration. Come now, good lads.
They soon stopped, realizing that their father meant what he said. Again, it was quiet, and the dormice continued down the path. It was not long before the older of the two brothers approached the front curtain window opening and began staring at the impressive tall standing gate doors. Spotting the two noble champions on each side, he asked about them. Curiosity painted all over his visage.
Who are those carved into the wall?
Well, the otter you see looking to the right is Adam Woodstock. He was a strong warrior who led the good creatures of this land to freedom from the weasels and their ranks. He helped to build the abbey here long ago. And with him, the mouse looking to the left is the Lord of the Sunstone Mountains, guarding at his side. They are the few that founded and protected this wonderful place, long before you or I ever existed.
Whoa! Really?
Mm-hmm. Every 4 seasons, about the time of the first full moon of the spring season, a grand commemoration is held to celebrate these valiant heroes and to honor them and remember those who led us to freedom.
The little brother of the two now crammed himself also in the open window frame, his excited nature pushing his brother over and nearly out of the opening.
Hey, what's your pause?
And we get to sell them good foods and spices and pots and things, and get to stay for the feast, right?
Yes, my sons.
The young Dormouse gave a loud yet enthusiastic hoot and laughter, prompting his older brother to join in the antics. On the battlements of the south wall, perched atop the majestic golden ramparts that adorned the stout yellow barrier, an adolescent squirrel, clad in a suit of patinaed chainmail with a pale emerald undergarment draping down to his battered shins, stood sentry. He watched over the misty morning valley for any trespassers or marauders, his weary eye locked to the horizon wherein the tree line met the earth. Yet from time to time his guard would falter, momentarily succumbing to the drowsiness that beset him. In time he could hear faint whispers carried upon the winds, echoing hoots and howls that stirred his senses anew. His attention returned to him instantly, and he hastened to trace the origin of the unusual noise. With squirrely determination, his seeking gaze scoured the horizon until the echoes dwindled into silence, leaving him unsure if the haunting sounds had been naught but a dream. Still searching, he firmly grasped his trusty bow and quiver of arrows as he leaned close to his slumbering comrade.
Hey, Luke! Did you hear that? Luke! What are you doing asleep? Wake up your tide paws, or I'll tell the Abbess that...
Tell me what? Aren't you two supposed to be keeping a watch up there?
The voice of the elder called from below, catching both by surprise. Abbess Elliss was a tan-hooded gopher, cloaked in long, evergreen-colored habit garb that draped nearly onto the ground, with wide habit sleeves and a modest light yellow-colored sleeveless coat over top, while her posture displayed a wise yet kind authority that one should expect from an abbess. Overall, she was a beautiful thing, with a few modest earrings, one in each ear, a small wooden pendant necklace, and a thin wooden rod to hold her hair fast in a bun. It was lost on the dosing hare, however, as most things were to a sleepy-eyed beast. Opening one eye briefly, he decided that a little more rest was in order.
Oh, 5 more moments, Mom. Just 5 more.
Tapping her foot-paw impatiently, the abbess crossed her arms over as she waited impatiently for the sleepy hare to come to attention.
Luke! Wake yourself up!
Chester growled with teeth gritted, hoping to save his graces with the abbess. Thinking quickly, Chester had an idea that would surely wake him up. He remembered that his sleepy rabbit companion was grandson to the sergeant of the fleet-footed fighting patrol that guarded the upper lands of the Vermoyen Plains, and how he would call his soldiers to attention. This time, the young squirrel yelled at the top of his lungs with his paws cupped around his mouth, mimicking in tone the sound of the sergeant's manner as he called.
There's a party northbound, and you're in the line of fire! Wake up if you want to live!
Huh? What? I'm awake, I swear. What's with all the racket, eh?
Luke pushed himself upright, searching all around him for the source of the noise. He was a skinny thing, barely clad in a weathered blue vest fastened by a leather belt, a simple dagger snug at his waist, and a somewhat ill-fitting metal helm crowning his brow between the 2 massive drooping ears. Now standing upright, he extended his spine in order to work the stiff crick out of him.
Sleeping on sentry duty again, Luke? My. You're making a bad habit of this, you know. I should hope you'll wake up soon, else you might be lost to our world.
The Abbess Gopher warned, contempt filling her features, as she brought Luke's attention to her now.
Oh, Mom, I hope you know that a good beast needs a little shut-eye every now and again. Besides, my old pal Chester here has been keeping a perfect eye out there, letting no beast escape his sight, eh, what?
Not now, Luke!
The squirrel protested, his teeth clenched as he tried to motion a hint to his sleepy-witted companion. The rabbit tilted his head, looking at his squirrely friend with one eye, as he tried to clue into his friend's subtle gestures. Just then, a knock at the large oak door dully thudded thrice, indicating the presence of some creature at the gate. The sound caught both watch creatures off guard, as they both looked down through the battlements to determine who it was. The abbess shook her head in dismay as she began to make her way up the stone slab steps toward them.
Who goes there that seeks entrance to the Heartwood Abbey?
Chester asked, manipulating his tone to sound just a little deeper than his usual higher-pitched adolescent cry.
"'Tis I, Curry T. Dormouse. My 2 sons and I seek entrance for the commemoration of our valiant heroes."
The voice replied in a loud yet peaceful manner, his heavy eastern accent coloring the air.
Well, I hope you have some belly good food in that old cart, else I'm afraid I can't let you in, see?
Move aside, you empty guts.
The Abbess Gopher admonished the hungry hare as she reached the top of the archway, joining the 2 young sentry guards, now taking the command of the situation.
But, Mom!
No buts. Off with you.
Curiously, she stood looking down to see the Dormouse and his sons waiting at the gate.
Now, I presume that I'm speaking with Mr. Curry T. Dormouse.
Aye, and a good morning to you, Miss Abbess Elliss.
Curry greeted as his gaze looked up to see them atop the arch.
It's good to see you again, Mr. Curry. Come inside. We'll have a room and a place to store your cart for your stay. Stand back now. I'll have the gates opened for you.
Abbess Elliss called back, smiling and waving politely before turning her attention to Luke and Chester.
Now, you 2, get to it. Open those great doors so our guests can enter. Well, go on with you.
Right.
Chester saluted as he put his weapons down and started descending the steps. Luke soon followed, after a stern gaze from his abbess fixed him, and they both made their way to the gates, the young squirrel being quicker than the sluggish hare, as he had a reputation to uphold. Chester was the first to reach the gate doors, and he strained and struggled to lift the thick, heavy oak beam to no success.
Come on, Luke! I can't lift this plank on my own!
Soon, Luke, too, reached the bottom, pausing to let his breath catch him as he bent to his knees. Eventually, he stood next to Chester, assisting to lift the large beam of wood off the door shackles and onto the ground, standing upright, leaning against the wall. Soon the 2 creatures began opening the doors, a slow wooden creak groaning from the motion. The gate slowed to a halt as both Luke and Chester stood facing inward at either end of each door, ready to close again after the dormice and their cart had safely entered the inn-yards. With a good tug each, the doors were shut tight, and the large timber was barred back in its place. Abbess Elliss, now at the base of the stairs, was the first to greet the Dormouse and his 2 sons, her voice filled with a tempered glee to see her traveling friends visiting once more.
It is very good to see you again, Mr. Curry. I hope your travels have met you well. And I see your sons have grown bigger and stronger since last we've met.
Oh, don't ye tell that to them. It'll go right to their heads. They're good kids, though. They've been traveling with I this journey throughout the lands, learning the trade and the route.
Oh, I'm glad to hear. I take it that your route takes you through our humble abbey, then. How's been your travels?
So far, well. But it's not all been good travels these last few seasons, I'm afraid. I've noticed them weasels have been moving and spreading through northwest Vermoria, and some have even made it south. I'm worried that they're trying to gain more out of the land to mount an attack.
Oh, enough of this talk. You'll be safe with us here at Heartwood Abbey. We have our grand wall to keep us well and protected, and with fine watchers, too. Your sons could even get some training by our well-seasoned archers to ease your worries.
I suppose you're right.
Grand. I'll have Sister Dandy take you to your room to rest then. And perhaps once you're settled, we could discuss this further in my study.
Chester stood at the base of the stairs, looking sorry for himself, as he waited for Abbess Elliss to finish her greeting, whilst Luke took up the stairs again to avoid her attention. The squirrel slowly approached his abbess, after Curry and his cart had turned the bend around the side of the old house, now just out of sight.
Abbess Elliss?
Yes, my son? Oh, what's the matter, dear? Oh, you look as if you've seen a ghastly veil.
Not a ghost, but maybe something else.
As shy as a guilty pup, Chester stood still as a statue, staring down, worry now taking place over his empty gaze. Abbess Elliss looked at her young squirrel student, slowly kneeling to meet his height to offer a comforting paw to his shoulder. She could tell there was a maelstrom of thoughts coursing through his mind.
What is on your mind, my son? Are you afraid of something?
Well, I'm not afraid, not really, but I thought I could hear something out there. It wasn't just in my head like those other dreams I've had. It was real, right? It must have been those beetles hiding in the bush. I've seen them before. They're big, ugly things. Luke was too fast asleep to see them, though. I was the only one who could see and hear them both. That's why...
Chester!
Taking a breath to collect herself, Abbess Elliss sighed deeply. Now, in a calmer state, she readdressed Chester, her tone kept low and gentle as she spoke.
Oh, my dear, you do have a wash of thoughts. Right, now, one breath at a time. Gather calmness like I've taught you, and then speak. Good. Now, with a calm mind, why are you so upset?
Taking a moment to really think about his innermost thoughts, Chester now began to reveal his weighty concerns.
If what Curry says is true, I don't think I'd be a good fit for a watch beast. I didn't even hear him approaching. I don't want to let anyone get hurt, just because I can't notice someone sneak up.
Ah, you sleepyhead. How late had Luke kept you up?
Not long, I swear. I mean, no later than Moonspeak. Oh, please don't get mad at him. It was my fault we were up late. It won't happen again. Promise.
Calm yourself, Chester. I can't excuse the fact that you two stayed up so late, even though you knew you had watch duty today. I won't take your meals away, but I expect you to do some extra cleaning at the dishes after dinner this evening. Is that a fair enough punishment to you?
Swiftly, the squirrel nodded his head.
Good. Now, I shall send your replacement shortly, seeing as you two won't be of much use up there as sleeping sentries. I'll have you both be attending to Mr. Curry once you're relieved. Oi! Did you hear that, Luke?
The abbess directed, raising her voice so that the sleepy hare at the top of the steps could hear her compromise.
Aye, Mum.
The hare half-heartedly agreed, with his voice low, hoping that he would soon be left to snooze again.
What's that, eh? I couldn't hear you. Raise your voice loud and firm so I can understand your words.
Can't a good rabbit have his voice heard without shouting?
Luke muttered sarcastically.
What? Speak up, dear.
By the tooth, I said yes, Ma'am. Now leave me belly well alone!
Abbess Elliss shook her head in dismay at the remark, now turning her attention back to Chester.
That hare will be the end of me. He's nothing like his grandfather. Right. Now, you should go back and keep watch until you're relieved.
Thank you, Miss Alice. I won't fail you again.
I'm sure you won't. I shall see you at tea time, my dear.
Chester waved a paw back at his abbess as he ran up the stairs to his post again, and she returned the gesture, sighing heavily before turning to the entrance of the Abbey building.